What's up, YouTube? It's your boy JB, and I am here with the review for The Oval on BET. This is season 2, episode 2. The episode was titled Natural Habitat. All right, you guys, so without further ado, let's get into this episode review, shall we? All right, you guys, so the episode, it starts up with the last one left off. You guys remember Jason was choking the hell. Excuse me, I didn't mean to burp me out face. Jason, he was choking the hell out of Maud. Well, Maud thought she was bad. Jason showed us who was badder. He killed her. I was like, well, damn. Wasn't expecting that, but okay. So then I was like, Gail, she's sitting over there with the AirPods in her ear. So I'm like, maybe Gail don't hear Maud struggling and, fighting with Jason. So the flight attendant comes back and she's like, is everything okay? He's like, oh, I think my grandmother's going to need a blanket because she's cold. She's like, oh, wow, that's really odd. She's like, she is asleep, but normally on these flights, she never sleeps. He's like, okay. So they had a little bit of back and forth, but eventually she's like, she touches, she says, oh God, she is cold. I'll tell the captain to adjust the temperature for her. I'm like, how cold? Well, you know what though, there is no blood in her body. Well, there is blood in her body, but it's lifeless. But how long does it take for a body to go cold? Well, actually, not that long. I do know that much. When the body is dead, it doesn't take that long for it to go cold. Know that from experience. Not that I killed somebody. I just know that from experience. When my mom passed away, and they cleaned her up, and I went in there and I kissed her on the forehead. She was already cold. So, okay. So Jason is a total nutcase. So then we see Don. He's in an oval with Hunter, and Hunter asks him, where's Kyle? He says he's going to be meeting us here. He says, call him. He says he's going to meet us. He says, call him. Why did I have to repeat that myself? So Don calls him. I'm like, Don. He says, put it on speaker. I'm like, ooh, Don, do you really want to put him on speaker? Because he's going to blow your secret. And he did. As soon as, Don answered, he called. Kyle answered the phone, hey, lover. And Don was like, this is not your lover. This is Don with the president. And he's like, oh, okay. My bad. Sorry, sir. So then he's like, what's up? And, Don said, well, where are you? He says, I'm in the White House, so I'm heading there now. So Kyle makes his way to the Oval where Hunter and Don is. And they want to know, how is Max even alive? He says, he shouldn't be because I shot him. Don was like, was he wearing a bulletproof vest? He said, yes, but when I left out of there, I saw blood, dripping. I mean, just because you saw the blood dripping, you didn't think that, check the pulse to make sure, yes, he's dead. So, Don tells Kyle where Max is, and, he goes there. Now, here's a big question that I have. How many days has Hunter been in the Oval? And how many days has Hunter been president? Like, I forgot about that. I forgot that. I don't remember. Let me know in the comment section if you guys know. Because I've actually forgotten how many days Hunter's been president. I know it ain't been, I don't even think it's been a full week. Has it? I think it's 4 days. I think this is his 4th day in office. I know for sure he hasn't reached his 100 days in office. Let's move on. All right, you guys. Next up, let's talk about Nancy. So Nancy is at the crib, and she's cooked dinner for Richard. So she's trying to feed Richard, and she says, "Here, Richard, you need to eat." He's like, "Go away." She's like, "Richard, I know you're mad at me, but you need to eat to get your strength." So she said, "It's your favorite." He threw that plate on the ground, and so Nancy gets down to clean up the food. He was like, "Sit." She was like, "I gotta clean it up." He says, "Sit." So she sits. So Richard has been calculated. He knows when Piggy's birthday is. So he's like, okay, so if you got pregnant with Piggy if Piggy was born in September, that means you conceived him around between December and January. Is that true for real? Yeah, I guess so it is. So he says, so you either conceived him between December or January, which is true. So Richard has all the letters that she wrote to him. And he says, read this one. So she reads and she starts. It starts says hi, I love you or something like that. He says go down to the next paragraph. So the next paragraph is about his brother, and she was talking about how good his brother looked, and then looking at his looking at his brother, it reminded her of him. I was like, I know Nancy did not do what I think she did. I know Nancy didn't sleep with his brother. She never confirmed nor denied, but I was like, oh Nancy, if you actually slept with this man's brother, that's low. I thought Sam would be low, but if you went with the brother, that's even lower. Ooh, damn, that would be fucked up. But you know what? It would make sense why she gave him away. God, I hope Nancy did. Oh, I hope she didn't do that, but I feel like she did. So we see Victoria. So Victoria's in the kitchen, and Victoria, for a woman that's not pure, no, she's not pure, and for a woman that we saw on her knees more than once, you're wearing a lot of white, but whatever. So Sam comes into the kitchen, and Sam comes into the kitchen, and Victoria says, is everything okay with your wife? Where is she? He says she went home. She just needed some time off. That's what she was in here for. She says, well, I do apologize about earlier. And Sam basically told her, like, it's cool, but I'm a happily married man, and that cannot happen again. It can happen again, and it won't happen again. So then she says, well, since Agent Yuma is dead, I'm gonna need to do a new detail, and I want it to be you. He's like, wait a minute, Agent Yuma is dead? She's like, yeah, you haven't heard that Agent Yuma and Agent Max were having an affair with a woman and they had a shootout? He was like, no ma'am, I did not. She's like, well, yep, Yuma's dead, Max is in ICU, clinging to dear life at this point. So it is what it is. Let's move on. All right, you guys. So Gail. So Gail, she had the AirPods in her ear, so she didn't hear anything with Maud. So she gets up and she's talking to Jason. She's telling Jason, like, once we land, we gotta have a plan. I actually have a plan. We can blackmail Jean. Jean needs their job, and the way that she was talking about Mom, we can use that against her to come pick us up and take us back. Jason, on the other hand, is like, she's not gonna do that. She's like, yes, she is. She needs that job. He's like, she's not gonna do that. And she's like, how do you know? And I'm like, do you really want to know? Because he's telling her she's not going to answer the phone. I'm like, he's telling you, the writings are on the wall. Like, he's literally telling you she's not going to answer you and she's not going to do it. And you asking him, how does he know? The writings are on the wall. And one of them is right in front of you. One of the writings is like laying right in front of you, dead. She's not asleep, she's dead, but whatever. So then we see Ellie. So Ellie is in her office and Alan comes in. And, Alan is asking Ellie, is it true what Diane said about her sleeping with the president? And she tells him, no, not at all. He's like, so why would she say that? She's like, she's jealous. I'm like, what is she? Well, what, Ellie does have a nice body. And I tweeted that. And I got retweeted by the Oval's Twitter page. I don't think that, Ellie has a nice body, but Diane's not a bad looking woman. So Don comes in, he's like, Alan, why are you still here? Like, you should be gone. So once Alan leaves, bad bitch Don comes out. Like, bad bitch Don, he bucking up at Ellie, talking about, she's only good to be, a basketball wife or just someone to get married. I'm like, oh. And I tweeted this too. I'm like, oh, Don's balls have dropped. But they haven't dropped with Hunter. The person who talks, my bad. Your balls have dropped with this lady, Ellie. But your balls can't drop with Hunter, who talks to you as if you his errand boy. Basically you are his errand boy, but And Donna's like, oh, you can't do it, can you? You need help, don't you? She's like, as long as you don't call her. He's like, oh, I'm gonna call her. because she is one of the best people. No, who you need to call Don is Olivia Pope. Call Olivia Pope, the fixer. She'll help you. Well, will Shonda let Olivia come and help Tyler's cast of the Oval? That's the question. Who knows? Let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. So, where we at? Oh, Lily. Lily, she in that cabin looking like Charlie's lost angel. So Bobby returns with Max. And, he lays him on the bed. And I'm just like, wait a minute. I'm still stuck on the fact that this man just had surgery and he doesn't look like it. Secondly, he doesn't look like the Max that I remember from last season. But that's neither here nor there. But like I said, he doesn't look like he just had surgery. I mean, when somebody has surgery on their body, like if somebody has surgery, I've never really saw them, and I could be wrong, but if you have, well, I guess so, if you have open heart surgery, never mind. Never mind. I'm gonna move on. Now here's the thing that tripped me up. Where in the hell? Now I'm used to people having, the first aid kit, but where did Bobby get this damn IV from? Who is this man? Lily, I would be like, that would be the first question I would have asked him. Where'd you get this IV from? Who are you? Shit, I'd be worried about it. So Bobby calls Diane, and Diane wants to meet up with Bobby. And Bobby tells Diane, like, you're being tracked. They had a back and forth with that one, but ultimately he told her she's tracked. Meet him at a gas station, so that's what they're gonna do. So then we see Sam. So Sam is in the hallway talking to Kyle. He asked him if he knew about Max and you. He said, I just found out. So he says, and why come you didn't tell him? He says, well, Don told us not to, alert you. He was like, but I'm in charge of this. At this point, the White House is running amok. So then Sam says, well, do their wives know? He says, I don't think so. He says, okay, well, I'll tell them. So Sam dips out. Oh, God. Let's pause here and move forward. All right, you guys, next up, let's talk about him. You guessed it, Barry. Barry is dumb as two rocks in a box. He is dumb as two rocks in a rocks. Two rocks in a box. That's it. He's dumb as two rocks in a box. Like, seriously stupid. So I guess I don't know if it's the police chief, the commissioner, whoever he is, the one that let him out the last time. So he comes to Barry's cell and try to figure out what's going on. Barry tells him about, what is old girl name again? Ruth. He's like, yeah, I already know that because she pressed charges against you. He's like, she pressed charges against me? He's like, yes, duh, Barry, you kidnapped her. Now, I'm still stuck on them, like, y'all know about the rackadoochies, and look at what this woman got on. That doesn't scream rackadoochie, but okay. These cops are as incompetent. You know what? Never mind. These cops are as incompetent as the cops on the haves and the have-nots. Okay. Very incompetent. So, he tells him he needs to post bail. So he was like, who you want? He's like, can I get a phone call? He says, who you gonna call? Sam, your daddy. He's like, I'll call my girlfriend. So he calls Sharon up and tells Sharon he's in jail. And then he needs, her to bail him out. He was like, and I need some, can you go get the money that's at the house? She was like, see, when he started talking about the money, she didn't know what he was talking about. And I'm like, so whose money is this in his room? Whose money is it? Because Sharon acted like she don't know about it. I don't even think Barry's putting up an act. It just don't make any sense to me. Here's the funniest scene of the episode for me. Excuse me, y'all. Priscilla. So Priscilla is still pissed off at Sam, thinking he did something with Victoria, so she's throwing his clothes out, and then she light a cigarette, and then Nancy comes in. Nancy, we finna talk about you. So Nancy tells, Priscilla that Sam put her out, not Sam, but Richard put her out the house, and he won't pay for Picky's funeral. Now, Nancy, I don't blame Richard. I really don't. Don't blame him one bit. So Priscilla says, she asks her, can she borrow the money, and she'll pay her back when Richard stops, tripping. So Priscilla says, sure. She's like, you don't have to ask Sam. She's like, no, I don't have to ask Sam. She says, how much is it? And Priscilla says, Nancy says, it's a lot. She's like, how much is it, girl? She says, $8,000. She's like, 8,000. Okay, how about we do 20,000? And she was like, 20,000? I don't need that. She's like, no, it's fine. That's your son, right? Let's take care of it. You know what? Let's say $25,000. You go get a hotel room, you go to a spa, you do this, but go to the bank and get the money first. I was like, ooh. And Nancy she's like, you sure you don't have to ask them? She says, no, I don't have to ask them. I'm like, oh, Nancy, don't cash that hot ass check, because that check is gonna have more bounce than your weave does. I wouldn't do it. You're gonna be sitting in jail next to your son, Barry. But go on ahead forward, girlfriend. Go on ahead. Let's move on and close the episode out. All right, you guys. So Victoria, actually, let's talk about Kyle first. So Kyle goes to the hospital to get Max, only to find out that Max was moved by by Diane. So Kyle calls Don and tells him, hey, Max is not here. Diane has moved him. He's like, what? He's like, yes. He says, okay, what you need to do is you need to use the full weight of this office to find Max. He says, what about Diane? He says, bring her to me. I want that bitch in front of me on her knees. And it's just the way, this is the way that Don is. I'm like, oh, there go bad bitch Don. Bad bitch Don is showing up and trying to show out. Talking about you think you a diva. Well, Don, we know you a diva too, but yeah. So then let's talk about, so we're gonna mix in Victoria and Jason's dumbass. So Victoria, she's talking to Ellie. She's asking Ellie, so what is your plan? Child, Ellie ain't got no damn plan. She's talking about we can offer them something. What you gonna offer them? What are you gonna offer? So Victoria tells her, you know what, girl, pack your shit and go. So Hunter comes in. She says, or else what? Or else I'll chop your body up into little pieces and I'll never find you. And I'll deliver you to your mom, or whatever she said. Something like that. So, Hunter comes in. She's like, Hunter, either you call my dad or I'm going to call him to clean this up, and he'll probably take you out as well. So then they go towards the residence. She's like, oh, what's that smell? And she goes into Jason's room and she finds a smell. I'm like, wait a minute, how long has Jean been dead for her to smell? The only way I can think of is if Jean, shit on herself when she died. That's all I can think of. But Victoria finds Jean under the bed. Now, back on the plane. Earlier in the episode, Jason was asking the flight attendant, like, you said there's an emergency, to open that door, let that in and push that out, right? She was like, yes. Well, what does Jason do? He opens up the emergency door and out flies Maud. Maud flew her ass right out the window. That was funny. And that was the episode. Actually, before we end the episode, we ended the episode and then a breaking news alert came on talking about what's happening with Jason and I'm like, wait a minute. It just happened. How did it just happen and y'all got a picture of Jason on the plane? How did y'all get that so quickly? Whatever, you guys. It was a good episode nonetheless. Be sure to like this video and leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification button so you guys are aware when I drop anything else. Share this video and into the next one. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, wear your mask, socially distance, and also go check out the Planner channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.